And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that duct tape from times gone by. We have heard murmurings that Vortex may be working on a new duct tape. Maybe. I don't, I don't know. Much love to Vortex. He's the one who makes all the duct tapes, and it's been a while since he's made one. Of course, just busy with IRL commitments and all that good stuff. But if he does ever make a new one, I'm ready for it. I'm excited. I am excited. I'm also excited for our next series. It is going to be our first and only mirror matchup of the night. It's going to be a ZvZ between Reynor and Lambo, and we have seen them go back and forth. I believe we were able to cast them relatively recently. Let me just double check. I believe we casted them, was it in a qualifier? One moment. Lambo. I should have been prepared with this. I'm looking up the stats, because this isn't a series that I'm unfamiliar with. Yeah, there we go. Sorry. It was an ESL Masters Summer. They faced off in, I believe, the group stage of ESL Masters Summer. Reynor did take down Lambo in the end there. So, yeah, really cool to see them facing off again. Also, I'm actually mistaking them with Lambo versus a laser. That's what we've been casting. We've been casting a lot of Lambo versus a laser. But now it's Lambo versus Reynor. The student versus the master. In a sense, for those who remember, it was a couple of years ago now, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like, in my mind, it's still like fresh in my memory. It still feels like, you know, recent times. But back in the day, Lambo, he did kind of become the coach of Reynor, did coach him through the World Finals, did help him out when it came to preparing him for matches, coming up with builds, or even helping him maintain his mental state as well. That, of course, did lead to Reynor becoming a world champion, so it was really cool to see Lambo kind of take that role. I think Lambo himself has said that, like, he's obviously a really smart player, but he's not as fast as some of these other players. He's not as mechanically, he's not as fast or as crisp as someone like Reynor or someone like Cyril. So for him to take more of a coach role and support Reynor in that way was really cool to see. It was really cool to see him kind of utilize those skills in another way. Did, of course, really benefits Reynor. Of course, that was quite a number of years ago at this point. What was that, like 2019? Just before COVID? Maybe even 2018? I think it was 2019. Started 2019. But yeah, quite some time ago. And now, many years later, they're facing off here once again in HomeStory Cup. Quite intense ZvZ. We have seen them kind of showcase many different styles and like play styles and really flex their skills. I'm really curious to see what kind of builds they go for. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of mind games. I'm sure they're very familiar with each other, so I'm ready for it. I am ready for it. Game 1 is going to be taking place on Gressvan. Let's go. Let us go. So, mind, we only have two series remaining here before we wrap up the evening, not the night, because we do have another cast after this. In a couple of hours, we're going to be live once again with OSC King of the Hill. But before that event, we have this one. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gressvan, we have the German Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have its opponent. We have the Italian Zerg player representing Team Basilisk. It is Reynor. Here we go. I'm sure these two face off many a time, especially on the ladder, maybe even in custom games, maybe even just discussing strategies about some of the other matchups as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Reynor even has gone to Lambo in recent times about Cyril. You know, maybe even about advice going up against Cyril in those ZvZs. But now they're going to be facing off against each other, and yeah, I expect things to get really wild and really interesting. As I say that, we are on Gressvan, and Gressvan, even in the mirror matchups, I say that, even in ZvZ, is known for split map scenarios and late games as well. Unfortunately, historically, we have seen a lot of Dark on Gressvan, and we've seen him cut the map in half and go Viper Lurker into the late game, 40-50 minute ZvZs. It's something that we have borne witness to on this channel. Never again. Hopefully never again. It was Dark versus Scarlet and Dark versus Ragnarok. This was a couple of months ago at this point. A couple of months ago. In the ESL Open Cups. Oh boy. Was life-changing ZvZs. Life-changing. Never again. But yeah, we'll see if we get there or if we end up going for more heavy mid-game aggression instead. As for now, we do have hatch gas pulls from both players. Nothing too crazy. Everything is very standard, very economic out of both Lambo and Reynor. From here, we're going to be scouting with our Lings, going to be sending them out across the map, trying to get a read on the timing of their gases, on whether or not they throw down Bailey nests, getting a read on their opponents. Behind this, we should be expanding, and there we go. Reynor, he's taking his third base. Likewise, Lambo should also be taking his own third. Now, something that's interesting is that Lambo didn't make 4 Lings, he only made 2. That means that Lambo isn't too concerned with scouting. He's not really too concerned with trying to figure out what Reynor is up to. Reynor is just poking and prodding with these first 2 Lings. Just getting confirmation of that third base. Just being a little bit annoying. So we have another 2 coming in behind this. Oh, and we now see the first sign of deviation. Both players did throw down Bailey Nest. Reynor gonna try and avoid that queen. Gonna slip into the natural base. And can he come across the Roach Warren that was just thrown down? No. Looks like Reynor is gonna be denied entry. Good positioning from Lambo with that second queen. Roach Warren is thrown down behind this. This is looking like a Roach Ling all-in. Lambo already cutting workers. Already amassing Lings. And Reynor, for the time being, is in the dark. He has no idea what's going on. Reynor is droning. He's saturating his natural, getting his Evo chamber, Bailings as well. Reynor, he just has no idea. He's still droning. Uh-oh. He still has no idea what's going on. If he drones for another wave, I don't think he's going to have enough to defend. We do have a Link Scout coming in, confirming the lack of saturation. Does not see the roaches as they pop. Reynor made another couple of drones, but there we go. Spine Crawler's on the way. It looks like Reynor now recognizes what's going on. I mean, he sees the roaches with his Overlord. He now is aware of the all-in that's coming across the map. Is it too late? He has 3 Spine Crawlers on the way. I don't think Reynor can hold on to his third, but maybe he can hold on to his natural. Oh, good connection. A very good start here for Reynor. Taking down a lot of those Lings. Not so much with that second connection, as it does get baited out. Here we go. Roaches are pushing on forward. The Bailings are going down. Lambo preserving his Ling Bane here in the back line, making sure they don't get wasted. And every Bailing of Reynor does get focused. Yeah, third base is compromised. Bailings are waddling on in as well. Going to be zoning Reynor away. Oof. Now the question becomes, is Lambo going to try and break the natural as well, or does he drone from here? As he is getting a kill on this hatchery. He's got options, and Lambo is droning. At the same time, Reynor attempting to go for a counterattack, but no, Lambo has reinforcements back at home. At the same time, oh, massive connections on those Lings! Reynor slipping up a little bit. As Lambo's busting into the natural base. Again, Lambo, he is transitioning out of this. He doesn't have to end the game with this, but he avoids the Spine Crawlers entirely. He just goes straight into the main instead. More drones are going down. Reynor taking a lot of losses here. And this may just be too much. This may just be critical damage, with the base falling, with drones going down, and we still have not even cleaned up these roaches. GG gets called. And Lambo takes game number 1. Ooh, GG. They very well hidden all-in from Lambo. Essentially a 2-base all-in. His third was never saturated, was just used for larva. And we saw that Lambo was doing a great job at just denying scouting. Reynor, he was trying so desperately to slip in with his Lings, but the Queens were able to rotate and keep up with the Ling control, or with the Ling positioning of Reynor. And as a result, Reynor had no idea what was happening until the roaches were already moving out across the map. And Yeah, pretty strong start here from Lambo. We'll see if he can keep it up. This is kind of how I expect Lambo to approach Reynor, to try to go for these hidden builds. I don't expect to see another quote-unquote 2-base all-in this series, but we'll see. We'll see. This game 2 is going to be taking place on Royal Blood. There is a lot you can do in ZvZ, whether it's something like hidden mutas or going for like fast muta play, going for tunneling claw roaches. There are different forms and variations of roach all-ins as well. And here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood. We have the Italian Zerg player down in this series representing Team Basilisk. It is Reynor. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the German Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo. Again, a very well hidden all-in from Lambo. I don't expect him to go for the same all-in again this series, but again, there are different variations, different levels of commitment. We can go for like Ling Roach +1 Carapace Floods, we can go for +1 Melee Ling Floods. There's a lot available. For now, Hatch Gas Pool. For now, standard openers. No one's going crazy, no one's going for a 12 pool or a 12-11 or a 13-12. Nothing crazy when it comes to the opener. It's about the follow-up. That's kind of what we're more concerned with. That's what we are keeping our eyes on. And I'm sure after game 1, Reynor is on notice. I'm sure he's a little more aware. He's like, okay, clearly Lambo, he's willing to get down and dirty. So Reynor's either going to have to get down and dirty with him or make sure he's more adamant when it comes to his scouting. As for now, both players just getting their bases up and running. We are on Royal Blood. Not the longest rush distance, more middle of the road compared to some of the other maps we have in the map pool. So you can be quite aggressive on this map. Especially if you do decide to take down these rocks. They do kind of create another avenue of attack to you. The other big advantage here of Royal Blood, you can go 2-base Roach a little bit easier on this map just because the entryway to the natural is so narrow. It doesn't take too many buildings, it doesn't take too much to wall off here at the natural. So 2-base play is an option. Whether it's 2-base Roach or 2-base Spire. As Lambo is going to be fanning out his Lings. Yeah, this time Lambo is going to be investing in getting 4 Lings instead of just 2. As he's getting his 3rd base up and running. And both players will get eyes on this. Again, 3rd bases are taken at the same time. Baneling nests are being taken at the same time as well. No one is skipping out on Banelings, thankfully. No one is trying to rush into Roaches. That is a corner you can cut, but it can be punished quite hard. Defending against Ling Floods without Banelings is a difficult thing to do. And this time everything is looking normal. We're just droning quite freely. Lambo is the first to make a wave of Lings, so it looks like Lambo plans to be the aggressor here. 8 Lings are on the way. Speed is kicking in and Lambo just getting a read on what's going on. Lambo also going for a very fast Roach Warren once again, just like the last game. Interesting. I'm curious. This may be as... yeah, he's able to wall off and like, actually completely wall off here at the natural just because of how narrow it is. He may be going for a +1 Carapace all-in. I'm curious if he is actually going to make use of this Evo Chamber. Back across the map, Reynor also going for his own very fast Roach Warren, going to be hidden here behind the mineral line. Okay, so Reynor's going for the build that I thought Lambo would do. So Reynor is the one going for a +1 Carapace, Lambo instead going for a +1 range. So for those wondering how the dynamic works here, is that because of, as we are focusing down that Bailey nest, our +1 carapace does nullify the effectiveness of defensive Banelings for the opposing player. So Reynor is going to be looking to be very aggressive with Roach Ling, and the Banelings that Lambo will have to defend against that, they're not going to be as useful. As Lambo is getting into his own big Roach bush. He's cutting workers at 35. Lambo is going to be the first to hit. He cancels +1 range, so he is just going for a Hatch Tech Roach Ling all in. He does main out his third base just to make it look like he's droning, when really he's not. And he's sending everything across the map. Now, thankfully, the difference here is that this time Reynor has a very fast Roach Warren, so he will have Roaches defensively. The all-in is upon us. Reynor may not have any Spine Crawlers, but he has Roaches to defend it. Are they going to come out in time? Will he have enough? Banelings are rolling on in. Lambo, he does have an overwhelming force. He's looking for the surround. The Banelings are looking for their connections. No, they run past the army. They're going up. And they go for the Roaches. Remember there, I thought they were going to go for the Mineral Iron. Roaches are falling. But with the defender's advantage, Reynor, he's got more Roaches on the way. See Lambo being dragged towards that third base for a while, just distracting him, buying time. Yeah, and with the reinforcements, Reynor, he's barely gonna clean this up. A Spine Crawler comes in. Some clutch transfuses as well. Oof, and Lambo is running out of steam. +1 carapace kicks in. And Lambo holds. And transitioning here for, Reynor holds. Transitioning here for Lambo is going to be a difficult thing to do. He's got his own +1 carapace on the way. He still doesn't have any mining at all at his third. He's still only on 35 drones. I'm sure Lambo is hoping that maybe Reynor overextends. But Reynor, he's backing up. Making more Roaches. I love it. We have a Bailey nest on the way. And this Ling run by is going to confirm the lack of gases and the lack of saturation. Lambo reveals a lair, but I don't really think that's something that he wants to commit to. Oh, as even 2 more drones go down. Lambo just amassing a Roach Ling army. Going for a second wave to the all-in. And yeah, he does cancel the lair. I think he just got the lair just to reveal it to Reynor, just to make it look like he's taking up. But he does cancel in the end. Just going for another big all-in. And as long as Reynor isn't too greedy, as long as he doesn't saturate his bases, he should be fine. And Reynor hasn't made a drone in quite some time. He's still making nothing but Roaches. Banelings as well, which will help against the Lings of his opponent. That's a lot of Lings. Uh-oh. That is a lot of Lings. The Banelings are finishing up. Lambo looking to try and go for a wraparound coming from behind. But there are Banelings in position. Up, up. Lambo has to be so careful. As he does pull back. And now Lambo is on the back foot. As I say that, we do see Lambo coming in from behind. He goes for a surround. But the Banelings are arriving. Decent piles will connect on the Roaches of Reynor, but is it going to be enough? It looks like it barely isn't. Again, the goal for Lambo was to surround the army and connect with those piles. But alas, Reynor with his reinforcements, he gets himself the Ravagers. GG gets called, and Reynor will tie the series 1-1, forcing the ace match. GG. Let's go. In the chat, yeah, we were discussing the story about Lambo being Reynor's coach. He used to be back in the day. I don't think he is anymore. But he was. Oh, GG. We are going all the way to game 3, to that ace match, and yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that Lambo went for the all-in again. Obviously he was doing a better job at hiding it, but this time Reynor, because he went for a fast Roach Warren, he had the tools available to defend. was able to deflect that army relatively easily. Didn't lose too many workers, or didn't lose any workers at all. So a much stronger hold by Reynor. Even though he didn't scout the all-in ahead of time, he just happened to be going for his own fast roach play as well. And now, we have a game 3. Let's go. Let us go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have the Italian Zerg player representing Team Basilisk. Ooh, tying up the series 1-1 in that last game. It is Reynor. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the German Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo. Yeah, I was really concerned about game number 2, about Lambo going for a 2-base all-in again, just because I'm sure Reynor would adapt to it, and that's exactly what we saw. Reynor was able to adjust over the course of the series and have a much stronger game 2 to bounce back in this series. Lambo gonna have to come up with a bit of a different strategy here in game 3. Gonna have to try to bring something new to the table. See what it will be. As once again, hatch gas pool, nothing too crazy. We're on a larger map, we're on a more macro-oriented map, so it makes plenty of sense. Oh. But again, despite the aggression from these players, it hasn't been in the opener. It's been as they get their natural bases up and running. It's been whether or not they saturate their natural even. And Lambo, he really hasn't been joining up more than 35 this entire series so far. We'll see if he does in game 3. It's going to be a really interesting role reversal if suddenly Reynor's the one that goes for a 2-base all-in and Lambo becomes the defender. Could happen, could happen. As for now, everything is looking far more normal. Again, because this map is so large, it does kind of favor more longer games, just because, sure, there are a lot of attack paths and you can take some really good engagements that's in the center of the map, but because the rush distance is longer, it does mean you have more time to prepare, especially if you see things ahead of time. As for now, the lings are being sent out across the map. We are just going to be scouting. Once again, Lambo, he gets 4 lings instead of 2. So he is concerned with scouting his opponent as well. Up! Up! Neither player will lose a ling. Not yet. So they do bounce off each other. See Queen getting in position. Bailey Ness on the way. Third bases as well. So both players are mirroring each other for the time being. We have seen Lambo get very fast roach warrens every game so far. Is he going to do it again in game 3? I hope not. I do think we need to mix it up, but we'll see. Ooh, as Reynor is the first to make an abundance of lings, he is looking to apply a lot of pressure here to the third base of his opponent. We haven't seen too much Ling Bane this series. It's been mainly like roach action from our players. But here we go, Banelings are on the way. Reynor gonna be sending everything across the map. The goal here is to deny the third base of Lambo. Back at home, Lambo does have defensive Banelings being morphed in. But again, he will be at an army disadvantage. And Reynor is already here. He gets on top of that third base. Lambo has to be very careful with his control. He cannot waste any of these Banelings. Up! As the Banelings are waddling on in. So far, not the best connection there. One Baneling does go down, but we still have plenty more where that came from. Another Baneling is going to get sniped. We do have, oh my god, 2 Banelings waddling into the mineral line. Lambo losing 8 drones. Up. Does take down some of those Banelings, and it looks like we see Reynor once again zoning Lambo away. This does expose the queens. The queens will get surrounded. The queens are going down. So far, Reynor has been trading better. He still has a couple of banelings left as he's pushing into that mineral line once again. This time, Lambo does barely have enough to defend. Oof. The banelings are wasted, and Lambo, he's holding. Did lose a lot of drones, but remember, he did have the higher worker count to begin with, and Reynor is not stopping. Reynor, he hasn't been droning at all. Still nothing but Ling Bane out of our blue Zerg. Lambo, all he has to do is hold on, and so far he has a little bit of breathing room. Even if he loses the third base, that's not the biggest of deals. As we do see Reynor slipping into the main base, going to be morphing banelings into the main of Lambo. Another queen gets surrounded. Oof. But oh my god, Reynor! He takes massive banelings to the face. Sure, he has a couple links in the main base, but at the same time, Lambo goes for his own counterattack, crippling the economy of Reynor. Reynor taking a big loss with his main army, losing 7 drones across the map. He does have banelings in the main base, so he can try and waddle in and equalize that damage. But Reynor is on the back foot. He's actually headed towards the natural instead. And Lambo, he doesn't realize, oof, 10 drones go down. And with that, this is still up in the air. Still up in the air as Lambo slips into the main base of his opponent. Reynor's still looking for a way in. The drone count is more or less equalizing. Up! Oh my god. Reynor face checking up the ramp, takes a bailing to the face. Oof. And even though the drone counts are similar, Lambo now has a massive army lead. Oh god! Now has a massive army lead. And he's going for his own counterattack. Now Reynor has to take the role of the defender. Does have a couple of lings being sent out across. Reynor, both players are now droning, saturating their bases. It looks like Lambo isn't gonna try and pressure that third. He backs off. We're settling down. After an intense early game, the worker counts are pretty even, to be honest. Things are pretty close between our players. Oh, as Reynor slips into the main and the natural, trying to focus down some more of these drones. At the same time, so is Lambo. And we are getting into the Roach phase of this game. Roach Horn on the way. Roach is already in production for Reynor. Oh. And it looks like Reynor is able to take a slight worker lead. He has a slight lead when it comes to his Roach production, his lair. But outside of that, it's still pretty close between the two of them. Lambo is even getting a couple of spine crawlers as well. It looks like he's a little bit paranoid about the Lingbane run-bys of Reynor. This is going to hurt him a little bit, but there we go. We do cancel those spine crawlers. Was just a little bit paranoid for a moment, but now that he has roaches, he should be fine. And they just don't find a way in. And Lambo still has a slight army lead here as he moves out with his roaches. Look at Unistab Reynor. He has a slight lead in the roach counts. He's got his banelings as well. Lambo, he just goes in, gets a scout, confirms a full saturated third base. And we're going to be backing off. We're chilling. And I appreciate that we're at least going to have a much more standard mid-game here between our players at some point this series. We've been seeing all-in after all-in in Game 1 and Game 2. And we almost saw that here in Game 3. We can see Reynor posturing, moving out with his army. +1 range is still a ways off, as well as roach speed, so I don't know if Reynor's really going to commit. Definitely can. Lambo not quite in position. As Reynor does pull back. Does get eyes on the Dropper Lord as well. Oh, as Lambo dives into the main base and gets a scout on that Spire. So to respond to that, Lambo has a Hydra Den on the way. Is working on his own anti-air. His 4th base is under threat. And it looks like the 4th is going to go down. So much better positional play here from Reynor. At the same time, a Baneling Water Bite is hitting the 3rd base, and a good split out of Reynor, but despite that, 9 drones go down, and we have Lynx to clean everything else up. Uh-oh. This is getting out of hand. Reynor, he may have denied the 4th base, but he's losing 14 probes, 14 drones even. And he's being caught out as well. Lambo just out-positioning Reynor time and time again. Things are snowballing out of control. Reynor, again, he had a good moment earlier denying the 4th, but clearly it just wasn't worth it. This Lambo will be getting a kill on this 4th base. He can even ignore it if he wants, so he can try to push into the natural. Lambo up 10 roaches. Trying to cut off the roaches of Reynor. Mutas are on the way, but, I mean, the Spire was already scattered. We already have Hydras. We already have an answer. The Mutas can at least kill some of these Overlords. They can at least deny some of the vision here of Lambo, but outside of that, they shouldn't really find too much economic damage. Have that 4th base on the way. Lambo now with a better army with Roach Hydra. With this, he can go into lurker play if he wants to. He has maxed out, and Reynor is struggling. He had to re-drone his 3rd base, has to retake his 4th. His economy is in shambles, and we can see that just snowball out of control. Oh no, the Mutas! I mean, not the most important losses, to be fair. Like, the Mutas, they aren't too impactful at this point. At this stage, but yeah, Lambo, there's nothing really stopping him from pushing out. He's up 30 supply. He may be waiting for his upgrades. He's got +2 on the way. So he may just not want to hit an anti-timing. Yeah, just focusing on cleaning up these Overlords. And denying this vision. Reynor is threatening a counterattack. And Lambo, he's going to have to respect it. His army does have to pull back. Now, the dangerous thing here is that Reynor is going to be losing all these roaches. Gets a good amount of queens. And yeah, he's just diving all the way into the natural. As he heads towards the natural and the main base, he has a secondary army pushing towards the 4th, hoping to catch Lambo out of position. Drones are falling despite the massive advantage that Lambo once had. Reynor, he's catching up. Oh. Good dodges on those files. Lambo does take some losses. 10 drones go down. That hatchery getting quite low as well. But Reynor, he's spending a lot of army supply to do this. As the Roach Run-by is being cleaned up. And you can see Reynor plummet in the army supply. That was supposed to be a kill move. That was ideally that was supposed to get a kill on the 4th base. And the 4th base does hold on, does stand strong. And now Lambo's going for a massive counterattack. Reynor, once again, he's hoping that he can maybe force Lambo to turn around. Go back home, Papi. Go back home. But no, Lambo is committing this time. Oh, he's going to take some bars to the face. But he's getting a surround on the army of Reynor. He's getting that surround, and with that, there just isn't really much left here for Reynor. He's got a couple of Roaches and Ravagers remaining, but the DPS is just too high. That counterattack across the map, it's getting some damage done. 22 drones. A lot of damage, actually. 22 drones go down. Lambo is being forced all in. But, mate, he's got a hefty army. He has a lot to work with. And despite the damage that Reynor did across the map, which was a lot of damage to be fair, just can't keep up with the army of Lambo, can't force him back. As Lambo's taking some biles to the face, which is best case scenario for Reynor, but it may not even matter. As Reynor is being cornered. Oh my god. Micring his heart out, but GG gets called. It is too much, and Lambo will take down Reynor 2-1, taking the series. GG. Let's go. GG, well played. Lambo, oh my god, really, yeah, really showcasing not just his like strategic play, which I feel like was showcased in game 1, but here in game 3 as well. Lambo was able to keep up with the aggression of Reynor. Reynor, he was so in his face with pure Ling Bane, trying to pull apart the attention of Lambo and trying to out micro and out control him, but Lambo, he kept up. He was able to keep up, able to reciprocate that damage as well. And as we got into the mid game, the dust was settling. You know, things were looking pretty even between the two players as we got into the Roach v Roach, and there we saw that in one fell swoop, Lambo was able to catch Reynor out of position. It was when Lambo cancelled his 4th base. When he cancelled the 4th, he got what, almost 20 worker kills. I say 20. I think it was like 15 drone kills across the map. He swallowed up the army. He denied the 4th. Like, everything just escalated so quickly in favor of Lambo. Really well done. Really well executed, and yeah, pretty solid win here for Lambo, especially considering the form of Reynor as well. GG, well played. Congratulations to Lambo for taking down one of the best Zerg players in the world. And we have one series remaining. Uno más, papi, uno más. It all comes down to this. Something a little bit more lighthearted, a little bit more laid back. We haven't casted for Jumi yet today. We mentioned earlier that we were casting him last week, and I think because of his injury, for Jumi has been cheesing every single game. So I'm excited. What kind of cheese do we have for Baby Marine? Oh boy. And I wonder, does Baby Marine, does he know? Does he know that Forjumi has been just cheesing his heart out? Oh god. I'm worried, Papi, I'm worried.